Well, there is the bony pelvis, and then there's the soft tissue. Most of us really, I mean, it's like the bony pelvis. Yeah. Okay, but in terms of birth, it's really a must do. Because going back to talking about positions, going back to talking about this is a big object in a container, this container has to open up, the object has to open your container, both the cervix, soft tissue, come through the pelvis, bony structure, come through the vagina, soft tissue, then we knew we had to get skills to do this. What is the language in childbirth about this? One is for the bony pelvis, the baby didn't come into my pelvis, or the baby got stuck in my pelvis. What's the language for soft tissue? My cervix didn't dilate. I had a failure to progress. Sometimes it's even my baby didn't come into my pelvis. That's soft tissue. Why didn't it come into your pelvis? And soft tissue is mostly down there, but soft tissue is your uterus and it's your belly muscles. Why are a lot of babies breech? And that's a big issue. A lot of babies are breech because of your uterus. Some women, they don't know, some doctors don't even know, they have a septum. They have a slight piece of tissue on the inside. So instead of having a nice roundish kind of oval-shaped uterus, they have a slight flatness, or they have a roundness on one side and it sort of drifts off. That's a septum. And that means that the baby is only going to occupy the space that it can move into. That makes sense. Other women have very weak uterine muscles or very weak abdominal muscles. So that the belly muscles hold the uterus over the inlet of the bony pelvis. And if they're weak, the baby falls forward. Remember in the positions, it falls forward. That bends the baby in relationship to how it has to come down. And so things like belly bands work because they act as a stronger belly muscle or a stronger uterus. So it's important to have the baby coming down through the hole in the pelvis, which we can't feel. Then it has to come down through the middle part, which is the narrowest part, out the outlet, and out the soft tissue of the vagina. That's in another lesson. That's called the internal work. And that is one of the most important birthing better skills. These are all important. That's why families developed them, because it was all about what about me and what if I could have. So we figured it all out for you, and that's why you're learning it. You want to have a safe breech birth, because there is some risk involved in having a breech birth. And if you believe that you need to have no skills because you're going to have a skilled birth professionals, they may be sick that day, right? Or they may get nervous, or they may have been up all night at another birth, or whatever. It is our responsibility as parents to do the best for ourselves and our babies. We cannot stress that enough. So the soft tissue is really, really important. The soft tissue is what allows the bony pelvis to have mobility. And when you did all the hip lifts, hip bone spread, sacral maneuver as a woman, you know if you have mobility or whether you need to work on that, soften more, learn how to open up more. We need to, and this is why men were so important in birthing better. They were pragmatic. They were plumbers. They were electricians. There were people who said, hammer a nail in here and this is what happens. Women are going, oh, do I want a midwife? Do I want a doctor? Do I want a hospital birth? Do I want a home birth? What if I have an intervention? I mean, what if my baby doesn't turn? I'm going to spend all this time turning my baby. What if your baby doesn't turn? You don't know whether turning your baby, it risks your baby or helps your baby. There was never in the 1970s anything about fetal positioning. Ever, because 95% of us birth vaginally one way or the other. They use forceps. Here, I'm going to go again about the natural birth movement. They said forceps damage babies. They sometimes do. Now, they have more cesareans. Get a grip. Why do they use forceps? Because women's bodies are tight. We lacked skills. Get a grip. You can make your body open and pliable and work with your baby's efforts to be born and keep a progressive labor, which we've talked about, then your baby will move down through and out your body as safely as possible. Can there still be risks? Yes. However, you are not compounding the risks by having a tight, immobile body getting into positions that hinder your baby. Babies move all the time. a breech birth, double foot lane, single foot lane, compound, hands up all over. That is normal. You can have head down babies that get stuck. You can have babies that have hands up here. You have babies that cords around their neck and cords around their bodies and all sorts of stuff. If that object fits through your container easily and you help that object move down through and out, you are reducing the risks. So learn all the soft tissue skills in this lesson and apply them.